Here we are with another Masques set here. Once again, set 12 is just around the corner, and as always, we're going to make our first impressions going through the set list and talking a little bit about the cards themselves. But honestly, I'm going to keep it real with you before we even get into things. I think this, compared to how good and hyped set 10 was, set 12, even compared to set 11, which also was like, you know, so-so, I feel like set 12 is already feeling a little shaky. Compared to how amazing set 10 was, this feels kind of like set 9, where there were a few really good decks and a few really cool cards that were definitely chase cards, but then there was like a bunch of generics that didn't really get good for a long time and then like eventually managed to find and see some play. But overall, I feel like the set is not super hot, but let's get into it and actually talk about it and take a look at the card list. So here we have our card list for the set, and I know you guys recommended me to go through things in terms of nations, so we'll do that today with the nation split as we have been recommended. So for Dragon Empire, the focus is basically on Gandiva support, Buff Sagara support, and some generics. They kind of try to support everything in this set, it feels like, at the same time, so it's kind of cool. The Gandiva support is really good. This card is going to be played as like a 2-of probably in a lot of Gandiva lists, so I definitely expect it to, you know, just be another good tool for Gandiva. And I think Verlord is a really cool card. Doesn't necessarily become such a great tool in Buff Sagara just because it doesn't necessarily like plus super hard, and it's just kind of like there as an additional card to support Buff Sagara, but kind of takes up deck space that I don't know if you really have. And the generic here is also fine because it just like draws you cards. Like, I don't know how much these generics will be played. I hope they are, because I like the fact that they're also like, they double as defensive cards, but generic is also like so-so, I guess. Then we have like an okay Nirvana Jiva support. You know, it's mostly trying to be a Jiva support, but you know, calling itself out in this card is pretty cool. This double rare, you know, when ditched from hand during battle phase, retire something, so it's like meant to be Overlord support, I guess, but at the same time, it's like Overlord only wants to ever ditch Helb, so I don't know. This double rare for Buff Sagara, though, is like the best support I could have ever gotten. And I mean, the double rare for Eugene is like, you know, not, you know, talking about what Eugene actually is. The card itself is fine. Yeah, I guess you can play this in Vermilion too, right? But I don't know. It's like this double rare in particular is like really, really good. And then for the rares of Dragon Empire, they're like 10k shield gainer, soul charger, which I guess is okay, but it doesn't get powers. It's kind of iffy. Like, draws a card if your Vanguard has 2 crit. The mace for Buff Sagara is like okay, but I think the axe is better. Then we have another 10k power gainer, 10k power gainer. The new grade 1 for the ride line for Eugene, which like doesn't really fix Eugene that much. Then we have like this like extra retire card for Dragon Tree marker decks, which is basically just the Dragon Tree itself, because we don't have a mask deck for Dragon Empire yet, so maybe it'll be better in the future when we have the actual like a Dragon Tree deck for Dragon Empire. Like, we have this thing for Gandiva as well. And then I think like the Dragon Empire stuff kind of peaks with like the axe here as well. So I don't know, overall, a lot of the Dragon Empire stuff is like okay. The Gotoblin deck for Dragon Empire is also like not really that great compared to some of the other ones, just like big guard restrict. So Dragon Empire in this set honestly is like kind of carried by this one card and this double rare. Everything else is kind of okay. So I feel like Dragon Empire is like 3 out of 5, 2 out of 5. Like, yeah, the Soul Charge 2 guy is like maybe. It needs your Vanguard to be lower grade than your opponent's when it's placed, which like only works against grade 4 decks or like on early turn. So like that's like, it's kind of question mark. So I don't know. I feel like for Dragon Empire, I want to give it like a 2 or 3 out of 5. It really doesn't feel that great. It's like carried by one card. So we'll give it a 3 because the Gandiva card is good. So we'll give it that. So yeah, it's true. It is if your grade is higher than your Vanguards. Yeah. So the grade 1, I guess, could be good in Shiranui just to like, you know, just to like when you stride to get a confirmed Soul Charge 2 for free. But we'll see how much Shiranui uses the soul itself. But let's move on to Dark States. Doesn't really, that card doesn't change my rating there. Dark States definitely is better. We have a new deck. We have Amano Gurshio. So of course the new cat ride line is pretty good. I think it will be pretty decent. Don't think it's gonna be like super meta, like game breaking or anything, but it's good. It's a good new deck. I think it's like similar power level to like, I guess what we initially expected Ganiva to be on release. Definitely Ganiva surpassed that initially, but I think Amanagusha will be like pretty decent, so I expect it to be decently good. But yeah, so I think Amanagusha is like pretty decent. It's good. It's gonna be a good deck on release. It got some decent support within the set too. The generic cat for Dark States is really good. Like, generic countercharger for Dark States is amazing. So this card is amazing, I think, as a triple rare that you're happy to have. The Bruce support is also very, very good. So I think Vehemence Bruce will be also getting a good buff out of this. All like these two cards that support the cat are good. The Barrow support is like fine, you know, it's good, I guess, for Barrow, but Barrow itself is not very good. So it's like, I guess it's still a good card in all. The rares are kind of all over the place. Like, we have like the guard restrict for Bruce. We have like the Unica order that kind of tries to patch up Unica, but you have to run more shieldless bricks in the deck in exchange, so it's not really that great. This card could be interesting in like premium maybe, or it's like it's a column wiper that doesn't target, so that's kind of nice. We got like quite a few like random power gainers and stuff, and like soul chargers here and there, and of course some of the deck like card space is taken up by the Amanagusha ride line, and like random Barrow support doesn't really do too much. But the Gotobun deck for Dark States is really good. I think Nino is amazing because the whole deck is just Draconic Descendant. The Vanguard is Draconic Descendant, rear guards are Draconic Descendant, so I think that part is like, you know, we don't know if English will get this yet, but you know, when it does, probably arguably one of the better decks for Gotobun, so I think it's quite interesting. So Dark States for me gets like a 4 out of 5, I think. It's honestly really, maybe even, do we give it a 5? I feel like the double rare department, yeah, I guess it's pretty good actually. The double rare department is actually quite strong. The rares are all over the place, but I'll give it a 4 out of 5. I'm being a bit more critical today. I think it's really probably going to be the strongest of the nations. Like honestly, in the splits for this nation are probably going to be the best from all of the ones in this set. But we'll settle at a 4 out of 5, but let's move on to Brandt Gate, and this is probably the most like initially hyped up that fell off the hardest. So Orfist Masques, I still need to test with him myself. I think he should be okay, but don't think it's gonna be anything crazy or like, you know, to write home about. And Gravidia is definitely just poof. They went and took some of the things that make Gravidia amazing and just took them away. Not that great either. So the two mask decks for Brandt Gate were just like, okay, they're definitely just like fine. Orfist I feel like has potential just because a lot of the other Orfist support is good, and the card from the starter deck is good. The new double rare for Orfist in the set is good, so maybe that will help carry Orfist Masques too. But maybe just playing Orfist without the masks is fine enough too. Gravidia just like, poof, feels kind of rough. Like, let me know your thoughts in the comments below, you know, what you think of Gravidia, but I personally think that losing the crit and power is just such a huge loss for Gravidia that just makes her lose a lot of what made her threatening. So it doesn't matter if you're doubling triggers if like she only has base 1 crit to begin with, right? So you're never going to be like swinging for big damage the way that she used to with the original form. The generic for Brandt Gate is also kind of like, because like the rear guard skill is to get a set order back compared to like counter charge or like even draw 1 or like the Keter one is like, feels kind of mid as well. The Mass Searcher does Mass Searcher stuff pretty good. This double rare is really good for Orfist. I quite like it. So it's like Nuvorea, but for, you know, this is a grade 1. It's pretty good. The Prison card is okay. Top 5 to call 1 is pretty nice for Prison, I think. It's kind of like a more selective Cheval stud, I suppose. The support for Gravidia here, the draw card is like fine, but not necessarily that fantastic. And then a lot of the rares are like okay. I like these two, the power and draw from like set orders retiring stuff or like playing set orders. I really like this, the Midnight Recyclers is really cool. It's like, it's a normal order in a set order deck, which feels a bit awkward to play, but I like the idea of it, so I kind of hope they explore more of this in the future. Oh yeah, and like Prison is, you know, Prison is already good right now just from like the promos it has gotten, and also the set 10 grade 3 that has Guard Restrict has actually turned out to be really good too, so that's been a big help. But otherwise it's like, this card is kind of interesting. It's like the, if it's on a Dragon Tree marker, it stands for CB2 is like cool-ish. This feels like wasted space where it's like If you have Gravidia Masques, get 5k and 5k shield. If you have Orfist Masques, get 5k, 5k shield. Like, you could have just said if you have a Masques, Vanguard, and Brandt Gate and just print one card instead of wasting a slot for this. Like, feels a bit weird, so I don't know. Brandt Gate definitely doesn't feel that good in this set as well. And the Gravidia comment is literally Stanner. It is, but it's just for freaking Masques. And I feel like the Gotobun for Brandt Gate is like, it's just Kyrie, so it's like fine, I guess, but doesn't necessarily have the tools to be that great in Brandt Gate. So I don't know, maybe will be decent. You know, multi-tech decks are usually good, so we'll see. I think Brandt Gate overall though, I don't know, doesn't even have like a triple rare to carry it either. So honestly, if we gave Dragon Empire, like we gave Dragon Empire 3, right? I feel like Brandt Gate might be a 2 out of 5, honestly. It pains me to say this because like Brandt Gate has had really strong sets back to back to back. And this is probably the first time that like the Brandt Gate split is just bad, like straight up so much stuff. Like you just kind of pick it up just to be safe, but oh, this is rough. 2 out of 5. Brandt Gate, pains me to say this, is rough. But Keter is kind of on the other side of the table, right? Keter got an insane new Bastion. This Bastion is crazy. We didn't even talk about it yet, but you know, it's treated as the original grade 3 Bastion. It doesn't let your grade 3 or grade away guys be chosen by effects and gain 5k, so that makes it tough for Gandiva. You know, they can just draw cards, but they don't retire these like huge attackers that Bastion has, and doesn't need to drive check grade 3s anymore. So now it's like at the end of battle attacked, you choose one of your grade 3 or lower rear guards and stand it. That means you cannot stand your Bastion Prime. And if your opponent's Vanguard's grade 3 is grade 3 or greater, then when that unit attacks, you count +1 and ditch a Bastion. For that battle, that unit performs drive checks. So, you know, you don't have to drive check grade 3s. You can actually potentially build Bastion in alternate ways, you know, you don't have to necessarily tunnel in on the grade 3 only build. I think it's still better, of course, because of the way that Bastion wants to work. But I think, I don't know, like I've seen people testing with Prime and saying it's not that good here in Japan. So we'll see, But I think Bastion Accord itself is like a really good card. Like people are really excited about Bastion, and that definitely carries the set too. And we'll talk about some of the support cards too. This is a Cope Francis support. I don't even know what it does. It gains power, and it's like if you have a Cope Francis Vanguard, you look at the top card of your deck, put it on top or bottom, and then CB1, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a unit card, you call it to empty rear, and if you didn't call, then you put it to soul. It's like, did this really need to be a triple rare? It's like the most, like even though it looks cool, it supports Cope Francis. Like it's gonna be a dud triple, right? So I feel like for as amazing as Bastion is, having this be a triple for Keter just feels not great. So yeah. But the generic for Keter is pretty good. It's like check top 5 and find the unit card that's grade equal to or lower than your Vanguard and call it to rear. And if it's outside of your main phase, then the called unit gets rested. So if you call it during main phase, it's called a stand. So honestly, it's a good card. Top 5 search, like damn, for anything. It's like really, really nice. And then this is like Bastion support double rare. That's like in hand is treated as 2 cards when revealed for an effect as a grade 3. So for your ride line, this helps so much. And it gets +10k power and +10k shields. That's also amazing. So this card's like really good. She looks amazing, but this card's kind of bad. That card's 28k base on opponent's turn. True. It is, huh? Because this power gain is also in your opponent's turn. Wow, it is 28k base on your opponent's turn. And it can't be retired by effects either, so... Buff Sagara, though, doesn't target. Buff Sagara doesn't target, bros. Buff Sagara meta coming up. But, man, I really want Buff Sagara to be good. As harsh as I was in the Dragon Empire split, I want Buff Sagara to be good. This card is like super hot, but it's like when placed on rear Soul Blast 1, you put an opponent's rear guard to the bottom of the deck, but then they draw 1. So it's like, don't know about that. Really good Hexorb support. This card is like, you know, basically old Hexorb grade 3, but on the rear guard body. Then you have like other Sol Raron support that draws a card and gives power out to a unit as well. So it's pretty cool. And then you have like a Bastion grade 3 searcher. You have more card draw. You have like interesting defensive cards. So this one's like when your Vanguard is attacked, if it's the 5th or more battle of the turn, you bind her to prevent a unit from being hit. So that's kind of cool. This like random order that gives all your rear guards boost. It's like You could just play Dark Strain instead, you know, I guess. But I don't know what they're trying to do with it. Like a power gainer, this like self rearguard bouncer, maybe we'll see some play in the future, but it uses CB, so I don't know about that. Luard support, damn, maybe. Then like defensive card, we like defensive cards, but not when they don't have any other effects. But it's quite a few random power gainers, but there's a few really interesting commons as well. This thing is a grade 2 that's straight as a grade 3 when revealed for your card effects that check for grade 3s. And if you have a Bastion Vanguard, that's a grade 3 when you call it. You cost 1 and you bot deck your opponent's, like one of your rearguards in the same column as him. So that's pretty cool. This thing is really cool. It's like when you place it on rear, cost 1, discard 1, choose the opponent's rearguard, and you choose all of your opponent, or your opponent chooses all copies of it from rear and drop and put it to the bottom of their deck. So you choose like a roaming prison dragon and just remove it from all zones. Like it's just gone. So really cool card. Sorry, not this card. That card's cool too, but this card's really cool. This card's also nice for Hex Orb. It's like if your Vanguard's a sorceress, when you call it, you discard 1. Look at top 2, put 1 to hand, put the other on top of your deck. So it's pretty cool. It's like very free, and I think these two are really good Keter commons for sure. And then like a power gainer, and then, you know, freaking Yotsuba for Gotobun is like the Glendios of the Gotobuns. So she has like a win con because she wins. So pretty cool little flavor. But Keter, I almost if it wasn't for this freaking random Sol Rareon grade like triple rare, I would actually give Keter a 5 out of 5. But just because of this card, I can't. I just genuinely cannot, because like even though the cards are pretty good, I feel like it's just not necessarily what we would have liked to see, you know, in like the triple rare slots. So I'm gonna have to give Keter a 4 out of 5. I think it's like this card being a little bit mid, and the Sol Rareon support, like Pope Francis being a little bit mid, is kind of what pulls it down a little bit. So we'll probably give it a 4 out of 5. If Sol Rareon turns out to be really good and I was wrong, so be it, right? I'll admit that I was wrong. But for now, like, Bastion stuff looks good, Hex Orb stuff looks good, generic is really good, and a lot of like the other cards like commons and rares are really good for Keter too, so they get points in that. So 4 out of 5, I think it's pretty fair for Keter. And finally, Stoicheia. Here we have Magnolia Masques, a card that initially we were like, oh, I don't know if this is gonna be good, but actually turns out from people's testing, it's looking pretty decent. It's pretty expensive to set up because of all the CB you need to make your Dragon Tree tokens, but you know, plus 10k power to all those Dragon Tree token rear guards is pretty good, and you also get to retire opponent's stuff. So that's not too bad. I think that's not too bad for sure. And the generic for Stoicheia is like not that great. It soul charges 2 and gives a unit plus 5k. So this card is definitely like of the generics, one of the lower tier ones. But the Granfia and Leonore triple rare is pretty nice. You know, it's like when it attacks, if you have a Granfia or Leonore Vanguard, and your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, you choose one of your back row rear guards, and you know, this gains power equal to that back row rear guard's power. So, you know, choose like your Noblesse Rose token, you choose like one of Leonore's big boosters, and then it just goes crazy. And it also makes 2 plan tokens, you know? It's just a cool aggro card, so for that it's really nice. This card from Magnolia is cool. It's like a big board resetter. It's like, Gandiva, I don't care, bro. CB1, bring back my whole board. Easy, right? And yeah, we have a new Leonore next set, so this is a good pickup just in case, I think, as well. This double rare is kind of okay, like a order resetter. This card is cool, the Yoranda. She's like, when it boosts, you choose 2 of your grade 1 or lower rear guards and retire them. You draw 1 and you get plus 10k. That's pretty good. Flagberg Searcher, don't think you have the space for it. I think we talked about it a bit on my stream, but feels like it's a cool card. So again, pretty decent. The rares for Stoicheia are really good. You know, this thing gets back a grade 3 unit card from your draw back to your hand, so you can get your Persona Rides back and stuff like that in like Magnolia Masques or like any other Stoicheia Masques deck. This thing is like a self-reviver for free in Magnolia Masques that gets power. This is a soul charger that's like a 13k. This gives your grade 0s hella power and on-hit pressure. And then like some of the commons are kind of disappointing. They're just like power gainers and stuff. But the rares are pretty good in Stoicheia, so I feel like definitely get some points there. And then the Gotobun deck for this nation is like Overlord basically, so that's also not too bad. So Stoicheia is like pretty average, I feel like. It's like a very average across the board nation in this set, I think. So I give it a 3 out of 5. So no huge winners. No huge winners this set, unfortunately. I definitely would like to rate Dragon Empire higher just because I love buff Sakura, but I, objectively cannot say that the buff Sakura support is amazing. So I think we'll probably have to summarize it somewhere there. So as you can see, like, if you're opening boxes for this set, I definitely would recommend just going on the singles route and just picking up what you need. Feels like the first dud set in a while. We haven't had like a duddy set like this in quite a bit. And I hope I'm proven wrong. I hope a lot of these cards become better in the future as we get future support, and hopefully things get better. But for this set, honestly, it's a little bit mild, and I think it's fine to have like mild sets every so often, right? Like you look at Pokemon TCG, you can't be making like Lost Origin or like the Lugia V-Star set every single set. Sometimes you need a little bit of a softer set that doesn't necessarily push and craze up the meta all of a sudden. Just add a couple nice little decks, like Amanogurusho in here, let people have fun with their flavorful mask decks, give them an update of Bastion, and you already have a good start. But next set 13 is already looking good, like just with that Vanguard reveal, so looking pretty cool. But anyway, those are my first impressions of set 12. Set 13 is looking pretty high. Set 13 is gonna be pretty interesting because of course we have like Youthberg, Leonore, New Verena, all that kind of stuff already. Plus like Vanguard, Wellstra, blah blah blah, like so many cool supports. So it'll be pretty exciting, so I look forward to that. But for set 12, I think it definitely is a set where you can kind of chill a little bit and save up for set 13. I think that's where things are going to get pretty exciting. So yeah, I think it's a good point. Like set 12 feels like set 9, definitely does have that same kind of flavor as well. So that means set 13 probably feels like set 10, and it's going to be amazing. So with that, I think that's it for this video. So let me know your first impressions of this set in the comments below. And of course, if you like this video, give it a like. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe. And also, I'd really appreciate if you check out my Twitch. I'm trying to reach 20K followers on Twitch and I'm like super close, but lately it feels like I'm just like a little bit away. So if you could check out my Twitch and drop it a follow, that'd be super appreciated. And if you want to support the channel in either way, consider becoming a YouTube channel member to unlock some extra bonus content as well. But with all that being said, that is it for me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.